As was discussed already in the panel over here this afternoon from the LIFE project, having role models is very important for people to kind of trigger that idea of I can do this and I am actually capable of building a project or a product or a company for that matter. And having one of those role models with us here for the closing speech is quite an honor. One of the leading ladies over here in Belgium, Mrs. Michèle Sioen. Thank you for joining us.
Ladies and gentlemen, startup founders, fellow entrepreneurs, I just heard 30 seconds ago that my speech was in English, so okay, but okay. Who can remember what he has been doing the 3rd of May? Why am I asking this question? Because this was the failure day. Yes, that actually exists in the Netherlands. And in connection of that day, the celebrated Dutch author Ronald Gippard said, by always focusing on our amazing successes, we create an atmosphere in which failures and setbacks are something to be ashamed of. Nobody likes talking about the times they flopped. Nobody puts in their CV those things at which they did not succeed, not even after making a big effort. And yet, those so-called failures often from the learning experience or provide the impetus of success. They can even provide the extra boost needed to persevere and not to give up. Failure teaches us that difficult things are doable. That is failing forward. I am not going to spend my time here on a semantic discussion about a dictionary definition of failure. As long as a failure or mistake does not lead to panic reaction and reversible dramatic consequences, I don't consider that failing. When a fire laid waste to our company in '91, we had 2 options. Take the insurance payout and stop the operations. In other words, the easy way, or start over from the beginning. We went for the second option. That decision was not just taken top-down, but that was broadly supported by the employees, management, and owners. The decision to go ahead required the utmost of everyone's improvisational talent. Talent to nevertheless ensure continuity and quality in order not to let down customers and partners despite the literal mess. Ultimately, we emerged from that hectic period as a stronger company. So, what originally looked like a disaster expanded into a learning process on how things could be done differently and better. The reconstruction of a brand new site was a foundation for the remarkable growth that the Group Sioen would go on in the future. Was the fire a mistake? A failure? No. This was a typical example of failing forward. Yes. Another discussion of the same caliber was the decision to revamp the strategy of our ready-made garment divisions. We had mass production producing certain products, such as high-visibility vests, and that was a real cash cow. Until suddenly, in a very short period of time, we ended up losing a lot of loyal customers because they could buy very cheap products in China. Desperately, holding on to mass production would have sounded to the death of our ready-made division. So, we decided to focus on technically complex products for very specific niche markets. And we did so successfully. Today, we offer textile solutions that protect electricians from flashovers up to 7,000 amperes and firefighters from temperatures up to 500 degrees. We even managed to develop textile fibers which even the most powerful chainsaws cannot cut through. Was stopping mass production a failure? No. This was an example of failing forward. In my experience, innovation is all about failing forward. Failing is part of the innovative spirit, progress, and growth. Innovation just does not appear just like it is. It's the result of trial and error, of experimentation in an effort to find the best solution. Even the path you take is valuable. Or Einstein put it, every time something fails, I'm happy, because then I know how to do it again. In that sense, failure is the true driving force behind innovation. After all, the knowledge you acquire through failing is often more important than the solution you find to the underlying problem. Whoever takes a positive approach to failure creates a foundation for being able and allowed to experiment. Those are not empty words for us, for Sioen Industries. Indeed, it is essential to our innovation and growth strategy. A textbook example of this is the Belgica mussel farming pilot project. 4 years after a lot of efforts to farm mussels, they sank without a trace. A consortium of companies and research institutions wants to breathe new life into the Belgian mussel industry. A pilot project is currently underway to find out if it's economically feasible to raise the North Sea mussel in Belgium's offshore wind farms. Closer to land, a second project is underway to farm seaweed, mussels, oysters, and scallops. Sioen Industries supplies this fabric on which the seaweed is grown. The chances of success of this second attempt rely to a large extent on the lessons we have drawn from the failure of the first attempt. The more I say the word failure, the less I like it. It sounds so definitive. And that does not align with my vision of entrepreneurship. Failure is not fatal. It is a stage of a learning process. Entrepreneurs must accept that they will not always hit the mark on the first time. It makes little sense to invest energy in hiding failures. On the contrary, it is much more important to convince employees that failing forward is a necessary step or stage in the path towards a goal, and that they mustn't let themselves be constrained by a stifling obsession with perfection. Don't let a good step forward be spoiled by the drive for perfection. In other words, dare to experiment. Make it part of your vision and culture. That's not such an obvious thing to do so for a startup, which has few resources and which does not have the time to spend years experimenting. I understand that. And yet, patience is a prerequisite for forging failure into opportunity. Fail fast, fail often is a trendy mantra in Silicon Valley. My experience shows that it's wrong to too quickly pull the plug on an idea or business. Just look around. The vast majority of the world's most successful companies spend years researching and trying things out before they finally came up with the true success formula. In short, between failure and success, there is an ongoing quest on finding the right balance between generating business in order to survive and keep shareholders happy, and maintaining sufficient focus on developing the core business that truly differentiates yourself in the longer term. It's like juggling with 4 clubs at the same time. It takes skill, passion, and perseverance. Ladies and gentlemen, I think you can tell I do not support the fail fast, fail often principle. Failure is inextricably linked with entrepreneurship. It's not fun, it hurts. But using failure as an excuse to throw in the towel when the going gets tough is simply a bridge too far. Entrepreneurs must persevere. That's their duty. In return, it's everyone's duty, not least the governments, to keep the spirit of entrepreneurship burning in young people and experienced talent. Perseverance, and in the same time, learning from mistakes is one of the crucial talents or qualities of an entrepreneur. This requires ambition, brains, and audacity. Having the right genes and enough talent is one thing. Being supported by the immediate environment, the government, and society is another. If I now put on my hat as president of the Federation of Enterprises in Belgium, I can see properties that form the foundation for successful entrepreneurship. First one, show leadership. Have ambition. Don't be scared of by economic setbacks, excessive regulation, mistrust, and unstable climate and so on. But instead, continue to seek opportunities and take risks. Persistence is a message. Second one, be international. Look beyond national borders and the Eurozone. After all, abroad is so much bigger than Belgium and therefore offers proportionally much more business opportunities. The more active a company is on international markets, the bigger and more productive it becomes. 3, be innovative. That just makes good sense. But a look at all the strengths and weaknesses in Belgium suggests that we excel in generating new knowledge and ideas, but are not sufficiently good at leveraging these assets in the marketplace. In other words, we do a lot of research and development, but does not always translate this in correspondent. We do not translate this in production and marketing innovative products. So we have to continue to also there to be perseverant. The fourth, be digital. The relation between our digital density and economic growth exposes the importance of digital technology as a key performance indicator for growth. A recent Accenture study shows that greater use of digital technology could boost Belgium GNP by 10 billion by 2020. And 5, for me also a very important one, surround yourself with talent. In the 21st century, talent is vying with capital as a driving force behind growth and the ability of differentiate yourself. No progress can be made without people, having people with the right skills, with great people. And the shortage of such people is growing more acute. For years now, the list of bottleneck professions has remained unchanged, and just as long. A better connection between education and the labor market is already a step in the right direction. Back to the shop floor. 25 years ago, I was myself just starting out. I had to get up to speed fast with our products and technology. I had to get used to falling down and getting right back up. One lesson from my parents was, always stayed with me, never focus on the wrong message. Stay positive, radiate optimism, give people hope. Failing forward is not synonymous to failure. On the contrary, it is growth. It creates dynamism. Deciding to stop an activity or to remove a product from the market is not failing, but making the right choice in the interest of the company, the people, the customers, and the shareholders. In short, new technology makes it possible to quickly, pragmatically, and cost-efficiently. Ladies and gentlemen, in closing, I would like to once more emphasize that we should not be ashamed of failures. We should not let setbacks put us on the defensive. Failure is part of our growing, is part of innovation and progress and growth. Failure is not fatal. On the contrary, A successful failure means you're making progress. Thank you.